Everybody's SC Closer. Friends call me Vic. It's another one of Vic's Sea Stories and Tall Tales. Uh, this one here, I'll go back to NTC days again. Over there at Great Lakes, I was in, I think it was Barracks 334. It's when I was in Basic Electronics Electricity School. I would call this one the Super Bears. Super Bears. Okay, and what I'm going to talk about in this story is, and I hope the battery in my camera is going to last. It looks like a little funny, but bear with me. We were up in boot camp and all during the 1985 Bears Super Bowl run season, and that was a great time to be in Chicago. That was so much fun. The Bears were just kicking everybody's butt. I think they lost the one game to Miami. It had to be to Miami. And they had the Super Bowl shuffle had come out, where they recorded that song, and everybody had Bears fever, and I think the whole country was pretty much enamored with the Bears that year. And so anyway, I was in boot camp when that started, but we got out, boot camp, I think it was by Thanksgiving. We were out, and so there was still some season to go, and we were all involved in it. Well, I was over in the barracks over in NTC, going to basic electronics school by the time the Bears made it to the Super Bowl. So we had this big party and stuff in the barracks, Super Bowl party and stuff, and seemed like to me I got pictures of it. I don't remember if that was when we had the toga party or what, but we had some kind of big thing, and we were watching the game and in the barracks. And anyway, the Bears were playing the Patriots, and they were killing them. And William Perry made a touchdown run, the fridge and everything. The sad thing about it was is Walter Payton didn't get a touchdown. That was the sad part about it. But the Bears just dominated, and it was a great game, and we were all hyped up and everything about it. And we looked around and we're like, man, we got to go downtown Chicago. We got to go downtown Chicago. So we had one friend, Higgy, we called him Higgy. He had a Barracuda. He had a 1973 Barracuda. He had it there on the base. He had just brought it back. I think Higdon was from I think he was from Virginia, and he had gone down there one weekend or something, got the car and brought it back. So we had a car, but we couldn't, so we were going to go downtown Chicago, and so me and Higgy and Spy from boot camp, and I think somebody else went with us. I don't remember who. It was another guy. He was in the room with Spy, but in any event, we four of us went downtown Chicago, went down to Rush Street that night to celebrate. Well, we didn't have civilian clothes privileges at the time, so we could only go on and off base with uniforms on. So we put our uniforms on and left the base and everything, and we had carried civilian clothes in bags, and and it wasn't all that cold. It was cold, but it wasn't all that cold. And we left, and we stopped at the Taco Bell. They were still open, and we stopped at the Taco Bell. Evidently, this Super Bowl wasn't like real late, and we stopped at at the Taco Bell, and we went in to get some tacos. And we went in the bathroom. We took turns going to the bathroom. We changed our clothes and put on civilian clothes. And I had on like a shirt and a sweater and a jacket, and jeans and stuff. And everybody had similar stuff to what we wore in the '80s. And we got in the car and we headed on down to Rush Street, Chicago. We got down to Rush Street. It was dark by the time we got down there. And man, they were out partying. Man, it was a great time, a great celebration. I was 18 years old. We're in a city that just won the Super Bowl. We'd never experienced anything like this before in our lives. It was just incredible. And so we're down there, and we must have stayed down there to like 2 in the morning or something. And anyway, so then it started getting really cold. And we're like, man, we got to get out of here. I think it was something like 25 degrees or something when we went down there, which didn't seem all that cold, but it was, it got, the wind chill was hitting like, negative numbers. I mean, below zero. I want to say that it was getting like 10 and 20 below zero wind chill by the time we got back. It was really cold. And so we drove back to the base that night. We got back and it was pretty late. I mean, it must have been like 4 in the morning or something when we got back to the base. And we didn't have a problem coming on the base. We put our pea coats on over the top of our civilian clothes and sitting in the car with our IDs and everything. They couldn't tell we didn't have on the uniforms. So we went right in and we parked in the parking lot. And we had, we were like, man, it's like, we got to change clothes. And it was freezing out there. And, I mean, even with the car running, it wasn't like that much heat. And we didn't have that much room. There's 4 of us in the car and nobody wanted to get out, and it's like, man, how are we going to get back in? So we took our uniforms. It was we were wearing our working blues, and that's like a button up. They were really black. It was a button up wool type long sleeve shirt, similar to what I'm wearing here, and we wore a necktie with it. And then we had they were black wool pants, and we had the shoes and stuff still in the car. So we just took our uniforms and put them on over our civilian clothes, and put a pea coats and stuff on. We had to put our ties on, and we got our had earmuffs. They weren't regulation, but everybody wore them because they were so cold up there. And we put our hats on and everything, and we were just hoping that they didn't notice that we had civilian clothes on underneath, because we could have got a lot of trouble if we'd have got caught. And so we went back and we walked back over to the barracks, and we were still freezing to death, even with like all these extra clothes on. And we went through and showed our IDs, and we walked past, no problem. Nobody said anything to us. And we managed to get back in. But I'm going to tell you what, I mean, it was a great time. I'll remember it for the rest of my life. And trying to put our uniforms on over the top of civilian clothes in a car late at night, 4 of us, to sneak back in the barracks. That's something I don't think I'll ever forget.